Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the McConnell Man at YouTube with another model video. Today we'll be doing another paint review. This one is also an import from China. Nebulas pre-thinned lacquer paint. I've had an opportunity to test some of these out. I've been sitting on them for quite a while, so it's about time I pulled them out. I have all the regular pieces to do my usual tests of adhesion, pigment density, and how easy it is to apply, drying, masking, all that sort of thing. It's pretty much very similar, if not the same formula as Alchemy paints, which I enjoyed very, very much. Quick drying, but the bottles are a bit big and it's a tad expensive. These 50ml bottles are far more affordable and generally available now. For Australian consumers, you can purchase these through contacting YDK-studio. Link down below in the description. Is a modeler from Sydney and she'll be able to help you out with your needs. Comes in a lovely plastic bottle, which previously I've had concerns about, but doesn't leak, doesn't cause any problems even with use. All the warnings and the poison information is written in English, as well as a code, colour, mils, all that sort of thing. You give it a good shake. I would always recommend to put a ball bearing in it rather than stirring to make sure all that pigment mixes. Being a clear bottle, we could see nothing is stuck to the bottom. And inside the lid, easy to pour. Connect the parts to our little paint clip. Comes out a bit translucent at first. Threw a ball bearing in just to be on the safe side for a fair test. We just slowly dust it on in a few coats for a build-up. And it's quite thin, it's building on, it's okay, still a bit too thin. Where I am a bit disappointed in consistency and density, the smoothness actually really impresses me. That is quite excellently smooth and is probably already touched to the dry, which I'll only touch one panel. Not quite, a bit slower drying, but that's okay. We'll allow it to sit for an hour. Very glossy. Pretty happy with that if you're a bit controlling of your primers and undercoats. Location of the blue, and this one is far better. Absolutely perfect, and generally what I expect from my previous experience. We have the yellow all loaded up, very well mixed, and we're going to do the density test as well as the masking test. We'll give about an hour or so to dry for masking. Black paint, primer and red, and supposedly after a few passes it should all look the same or have the same intensity of yellow. And unfortunately, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With a density pass, it just doesn't really have the build up, unfortunately. Next is clear matte. And I've got a very, very, very shiny gacha ball, and I'm just going to paint or dust on a little bit of area, and we're going to do about 3 passes. And it's not really frosting, it's staying clear, but pretty much some matte coats work that way. So we're going to leave it like that for a while. This is metallic finish top coat. Normally it's a slow drying gloss to prevent frost. Normally I see, such as Guy Notes, it's just clear with pearl flakes in it to make a non-metallic finish appear metallic. Inside the cup looks like a really transparent pearl. This white. And that looks pretty intense, but for the people viewing at home on our dirty test jar, the pearl is actually very subtle and it almost does give it that sheen. So it's kind of cool, but the flakes don't build up to give the effect of metallic. It's just a really nice pearl. Last is metallic black. And this comes on absolutely beautiful. Each of the colours are fairly standard and easy to clean out as any other lacquer. We're going to revisit a chemi on a small bit of the test. Pour a bit straight into just only the corner here. And it builds up actually a lot better. I'm going to let each of these parts here sit for exactly an hour and we'll do an adhesion and masking test. The gacha ball has frosted up quite nicely. We've got the shiny end there. So we can conclude that the matte clear definitely does its job. 1 hour has finally passed and it's dry to the touch, quite impressively so. And like the previous product, it actually is fairly scratch resistant. My fingernail's not doing any damage, and a hard surface does a pretty good job. I can leave a mark with a sharp object, but it's not going straight to plastic. 2 random parts, and I'm going to get somewhere just in between the primer and the paint, so we've got a bit of pure contact on plastic and to me a primer. Lifting the tape live on camera as always. No lifting. The second time on a different piece, just for good measure. No lifting. Close inspection. We've got the chemi here. We've got the Nebulas here. It's about half the pigment, so you'll be using about double the amount of paint. And we've got the masking line nice and crisp with a bit of bleed. It can build up, you just use a bit more product. Overall, the piece is crisp enough and the lines up don't spatter anywhere as much as badly as the silver. It's a pretty, as we're looking here, smooth application. And the lined up pigment density is sort of all over the place from colour to colour. The green was weak, the blue was strong, especially with the yellow. But overall, the difficulty of application was not too hard, though the paint is only readily available from one source via mail order. It is lacquer based, respirators are required. Lacquer thinner, general purpose thinner required for cleanup after use. No thinning required. 50ml containers only. Ballpark hit and miss, but I would say that it is on the higher quality end of paint. The metallic I'm very impressed with. The vibrance of the colour and the look is great. The durability is absolutely fantastic if you consider using it as a top coat, especially if you're going very masking heavy. Designed mostly for Gundams, a very Gundam oriented colour except for the 2 fleshes. Garage kit for resin. Would sit on resin just as nice, no problems. All in all, I recommend the paint as long as you consider the liabilities and weaknesses of the application. It goes through an airbrush. Pour, spray at a lowish PSI and away you go. Okay for beginners, okay for experts. Something to test and try and compare with other paints you use, but it is a smaller house brand if it is available to you. I'm not too sure if I'm going to get more. The metallics does have a lovely look compared to some of the other brands, and I like to have a large collection for blending. But I'll be sure to use these up on the coming projects regardless, as they are available to me. All in all, thank you very much for watching. As always, until next time, stay tuned for further content. The description section will have the link source to acquire this, as well as more information and references as per every video. Links to social media, all that sort of stuff. Catch you guys next time. Stay tuned for more content. If you have an idea for me to review a paint, or you have access to a small paint you want me to compare to my experience with everything else, more than happy to comply. Just drop a line or a comment. Catch you guys next time.